Have you got yourself a new kayak and you want to put foot controls on it, but you don't know where to start? Now you do. This video is going to go through step-by-step in how to build the DIY foot controls with the motorcycle pegs. There's 3 different versions. There's the original version, there's the modified version, and I have a new version that I'm creating just for this channel. And hopefully that one is the ultimate, and it is going to be a total DIY. Is going to be more corrosion resistant, it's going to be tougher, stronger, and hopefully last longer, especially if you're in saltwater. I do saltwater inshore fishing, and that is my main concern, is corrosion. So I wanted to come up with something that's a little bit better than what we've been doing. Okay, so let's start. First, let's talk about what different kind of foot controls there are. We have these. This is the original native. You can buy these off of Native. I think it's a kit. I think it's like 50 bucks. They're plastic, and they have a rail. And you can also put them in, if you want just a foot rest, a foot brace, then we have that. It has that capability too. You could just put some nuts and bolts in here. The fact that the NK300's torque was so strong, this was flexing so much. And honestly, anything over like, say 30% on that motor, I was not able to really steer with this. I would have to back off of it, steer, increase the throttle, and then keep going, and then just do that over and over. So that was one of the things that made me start looking for a different solution. And I saw the Greg Blanchard video, and I noticed that he has some interesting looking foot pegs that kind of, you know, something like this right here. You've seen it before. You've heard me talk about it, the gantry plate solution, 3D printer parts. And I came up with the, well, not myself. I emulated what they had, and I came up with the video and put it out there, and it got really popular. And that's how this video started, is because people wanted to really know exactly how to build this from start to finish. So that's what we're going to do here. There's 2 types of rails. Originally, I was using this one, the T-slot, and it will fit. As you can see, I have a gantry plate here with the 4 bearings, and this is a T-slot rail, and it fits. You can adjust these things and make them fit with the T-slot. One of my viewers pointed out that there's actually a V-slot rail too, which makes sense because it's a V-slot. It's a V-slot gantry plate. And this right here allows the bearings to sit a little bit lower in here because there's a little bit of a V. Let's see if you can see that. See that V cut versus, let's see, give you the better. See the T-slot versus the V-slot. So if you want to go with the V-slot solution, which is now the recommended solution, the gantry plate bearings don't have to be adjusted as much, if at all, if you use the V-slot. So there's the original native solution. There's the Wizard, I guess is the guy. I'm not sure exactly who the Wizard is, but the Wizard, who works with Greg Blanchard, he came up with the 3D printer part gantry plates, and that is a great solution. I came up with the next iteration of it, and others have as well, using a larger gantry plate with the larger bearings, cutting it down, and making a wider, with the larger bearings, making a wider foot control plate with the larger bearings. I've heard some rumors that those will bend over time because the aluminum is a little bit thinner. So we're going to make a super strong one. This is version 3. Version 3 has aluminum, stainless steel bearings for the V-slot. And we're going to see how that thing works out. We're still going to use our aluminum foot pegs. I like these green ones better, even though they look a little silly. But what I'm going to do is show you how you could take this with this countersunk screw to make, hold on a sec, to make this. Let's go over some of the tools that I use, and then I'll go over the different pieces that you're going to need for each of the different versions. All right, so if you're going to make version 1 being the countersunk gantry plate, you don't make these. These are purchasable as a kit. I believe it also comes with some Spectra line, so you can get this plus some Spectra line and some through hole, I don't know what you want to call them, bushings or whatever. I don't recommend that if you have a NK300. I do not recommend it. Other people, oh, let me go over that. Why do I mention this? On Facebook, on the internet, you know, other sites, YouTube, whatever, you're going to see comments about how this works just fine with the NK300. And I'm sure it does. But the solution that you have to do to make it work fine is you have to grease it up a lot, right? So you really have to grease this up. You can, you know, it says you can put it through the, through hole, you know, the lines through hole and stuff. I still don't recommend it. And the reason I don't recommend it is putting those lines through the hole, coming out to this, there's a lot of tension and torque being applied to that. And you're gonna be torquing on these. Now, if it works fine for those who are doing it, great, prove me wrong. I just don't believe that with the NK300 I just don't believe that that's a great solution. But again, you know, I could be wrong. The other issue is, and you know, some of the arguments back is, oh, I'll just re-grease it, da da da. Well, if you live in a saltwater environment where you are doing fishing, where there's any kind of sandy bottom or even just the salt itself, you're going to be cleaning this grease out every trip. I don't care who you are, because even with I get salt on my kayak or sand in my kayak and I haven't even seen the sand, right? So depending on where I go, you know, you don't really see the sand. You think you're in mud or whatever, and still I have sand in my kayak because it's saltwater. You know, it's beaches and stuff like that. So inshore fishing, saltwater, I don't recommend this. The grease, the grit, not to mention the salt. So you're going to be out there and it's just going to be grinding and getting nasty, and it's just it's a big surface. It's got a bunch of sand and salt and stuff in here already from the last time I did, and I washed this. I sprayed this down. I'm not going to be showing anything more about this. I just wanted to show you that it's out there and why I don't use it, because of the salt water and the sand and the torque of the NK300. If you have an NK180, sure, maybe it works. I don't know. I don't have an NK180. The NK180 has less torque probably, so this might work just fine. And if you are okay with wiping out and cleaning out the grease all the time, then maybe this will work fine for you too. Like I said, I know other people have been using this with a lot of grease and say that it works great, but it's not my thing. And I also don't like how the rail has to come back like this and like that, because you know, you mount this right here, right? You mount this to the yak. Well, you're going to come all the way back. So, you know, if it's coming back or you're going forward, you know, so you have to really put your foot controls in the right spot. So, you know, yeah, I didn't like it. Other people might. Buy it if you want it. Version 1, my version 1, you know, I put the T-slot and I modified this and everything was fine. I didn't make it stainless. You can see it's rusting. I didn't make it stainless, but that's okay. For you freshwater guys, the stainless is, you know, maybe not as important, but if you store your yak outside or you don't dry it off after you rinse it, you may still want to go with the stainless just so you have less issues of, you know, rusting and stuff like that. Sorry guys, my camera turned off, so we got a little bit different view. Anyways, so we're going to go over how to, everything that we need for this and how to order it and even build it. So that's that. Then we're going to go over the version 3, which is going to be, boom. Oh, and version 2. I'm going to do version 2, then version 3. So, long video. Who knows? All right. To build this, the biggest question I had so far was not anything about, well, how do I get this onto, or the extruded aluminum T-slot. Most people just, you know, adjusted it out and it was fine. Again, some people found the V-slot and they were like, you know, this is great. I don't have to worry about anything. I just got it. But if you got a T-slot at first, it might have been like really like tight like that and you didn't know what to do. The number one question is, how do we make this bolt flush, right? So because this side sits against the rail and the bolt has to come out through here. The countersink bolt has to come out through here. So the countersink bolt is right here. So what I ordered here, M8 by 1.25 countersink bolt. It is 3/4 of an inch long. So stainless steel, So that is the first thing. In order to countersink this bolt into this plate, the gantry plate, so it is flush, so it doesn't rub against the aluminum rail, you're going to need a countersink drill bit. So, got this off of Amazon. If you want a countersink, you got to get a countersink drill bit. It looks like this, and then you drill it out and drill it out until it gets to the shape that you want. All right. Now, it starts out different sizes. I started with a regular drill bit hole, just to make sure that, one, I could get this started, and I didn't have the best drill, so I kind of started with one size and it wasn't right, so then I went to the next size, and I did use this one. If you notice, this is the 3/4 inch or 19 millimeter countersink drill bit. So that one, if you can see, that one gets a pretty good angle, gets in there pretty deep, and that is what you need for this. So you want to drill that out and you'll get that. And then once it's all said and done, it should look something like that. Pretty flush all the way. You tighten it down. All right. It has it's an Allen head for this one. So then once you get it on there, you use your Allen wrench, which this is the size 3/16 inch Allen head. I like to use these kind instead of just using the regular one. You get it and you can just get it to where you want it, you know, kind of even it up how you're going to be. So if this is the right side, I want this to be able to fold this way. If it was the left side, you know, it doesn't matter because you could just flip it upside down, right? Now, you want to really kind of like make sure that this is nice and tight when you do it. And then that way, it's not gonna, you know, like flip and flop when you're out there. All right, let's talk about all the tools that we're gonna need to build either version 1, version 2, or version 3. The first thing that we're gonna need, and this is only for version 1, is you're gonna need the countersink drill bits. I got them from Amazon. I'll put the link below. I'll put the link to everything below, so it's not a big deal. We're gonna want some other drill bits that can go through metal, go through aluminum. So I got this from, I can't remember which one. I think it's Harbor Freight though. Either way, just get yourself some drill bits that can go through aluminum, metal. You're going to want some sockets. The sockets that I'm using are 8 millimeter and 10 millimeter. And these sockets will be used for if you need to adjust the gantry plate. If you're going to do the version 2 or 3, you're going to replace all the hardware with stainless steel. You're going to need this. All right, so next you're going to need a 3/16 inch Allen wrench. And that's going to be used for your screws here, your bolts there. We're going to need a bigger Allen head, but I don't have that one here with me. I'm not sure of the exact size, but we'll figure that out. So you're going to need a few different Allen keys. So maybe get yourself your Allen key set. I have a full set of this, and I'll show that. I got this at Harbor Freight as well. I got a whole, you know, pack of them. Comes with different sizes, and that's going to be useful. So get yourself a few different sizes of Allen heads. I showed you the drill bit, so we're going to need a drill. We need to drill. We're going to have to drill into this, into our extruded aluminum. For making version 1, we need the countersink drill bits, so we can go ahead and get this flush so it doesn't rub. You might want to countersink drill all of, you know, whatever. You can countersink any of your any of the versions if you want. Now, you might want this. You might want to measure offset, especially once we go into the version 3. You're going to need some kind of measuring tape. It's always good to have a measuring tape around, no matter what. All right, so the next thing that we need to go over is the supplies that we're going to need for the different versions. So we're going to go over version 1 first, because that is the first version that I've seen and that I came out. So we need 2 400 millimeter long V-slot extruded aluminum. These things are on Amazon. They're usually come in a 2-pack or a 4-pack. I got 4 packs in case I mess anything up. So this is the first thing you need. Extruded aluminum, 400 millimeter. That's 15 1/4 or 15 3/4. It's like the perfect size. And that's the first thing you need. The next thing you're gonna need is the gantry plate with the micro wheels, the mini wheels. And it's a little thicker gantry plate. And you're gonna need 2 of these. They come with the bearings and all that other stuff. Then you're gonna need a set of motorcycle foot pegs. You could do something like this that I have, where you can fold it up out of the way. It's real nice. You can do this little stubby ones. They're nice too. You know, I don't know how long they actually are, you know, but I like having it a little bit longer, and then I just fold it out of the way. You're going to need this 8 millimeter or M8 1.125 or 1.25. Now I'm all out of whack. You're gonna need a countersunk bolt, 3/4 of an inch. We went over it. It's either M8 or 8 millimeter. Again, I'll put all these parts down in the description. You're gonna need one of the, well, you're gonna need 2 of these if you're gonna make 2 foot pegs. All right, and you're going to need quarter 20 with the button head Allen key bolt, screw, whatever you want to call it. It's a quarter 20 and it is 1.5 inches long. 1.5 inches long. That's a good size. You're going to need a neoprene bushing. The size of this, I'm not really sure. I just kind of went through. I'll see what I can find. But basically, make sure that the bolt can go through it. And then you're going to need a plastic bushing. I will measure this out so we know exactly the size of both of these bushings. So they are 1 1/4 across. So 1 1/4 across. And they are, I think, 8. Yeah. They're, oops, let's see. See right there? About 1/8 of an inch thick. 1/8 of an inch thick. So this is just plastic. This is neoprene. I just do this to dampen the sound when it's up against the kayak, so that way it doesn't, you know, make it too noisy. You want to make sure your quarter 20 bolt can go through it. So this hole right here, this one, the neoprene, you can cut it bigger if you can't find the exact, but this one, obviously you want it, I mean, you could drill through it, but you can find this one, and that hole is probably 1/4 inch. Yeah, it's about 1/4 inch. Little bigger than 1/4 inch, but if you got 1/4 inch, that would be fine. As you can see, there's some room to grow, or room to shrink, whatever. And if you want to do the stoppers, you can get this joining screw. I don't know exactly technical terms on this one, but it's a quarter 20. I call it a joining screw, but I'm sure there's some other kind of better name for it, more technical name for it. Little hard plastic washer. This is a little rubber bushing. I just got this so it can compress it down a little bit. You can push it. See how it has that split? You can push it down a little bit. And then one more of these. And then this is a quarter 20. It has the Allen head, but we don't really care about this. You just kind of rounded is what you want. And I will figure out what the exact name of that is and put that in there as well. This is 1 3/4 inch. We have, this is our Spectra line keeper, right? So this is just I don't think I could get this stainless. This might be chrome. I don't know. It might be stainless. Little bunt cap nut. Little tiny. This is a 1/4 inch line guide. And then again, I just went and got a little stainless steel screw. Find whatever size button head. It's probably like an M6 or M8 or M10. and just make sure whatever it is. This one, again, is kind of trial and error, depends on what you buy, which ones of these you buy. So you just want to make sure that they fit there. That's part one. And again, you want to make sure that it fits in here. So this head needs to fit right inside of here. Oops, I got this on backwards. Hold on a second. You're going to put it together so that the nut is on the same side as how the guide faces. So we're going to put this in here. And again, so the stopper, this will go, the stopper is on the top, this is on the side. You know, this is your line guide. You're going to put it there. And the whole purpose of the line guide is, one, obviously, you know, just keep it from flopping around, but two, to keep it off of this. So if we don't have this line guide keeping it up off of this, then it's gonna, you know, rub on that. And this, you know, this does have, it is knurled, so it will eventually rub and, you know, wear on your Spectra line. So we didn't want that. So that's what these are for. You can use one or two, or, you know, more. It's up to you. So, oh, the last thing that I bought for version 1, because you gotta run your lines, right? You gotta run your foot controls. You guys saw how my lines are fine and how they run. Well, they are run with these. These I got off of Amazon. I got like a 10-15 pack. These will work really well to guide your lines on the NK300, NK180, probably the Torqeedo as well. I don't know, because I don't have a Torqeedo. All right, that's all the parts for version 1. Now for version 2 and 3, I'm just going to tell you the additional parts, because you're going to use, or the replacement part. So it might be an addition or it might be a replacement. So for version 2, you need one of these. You're going to need one of these gantry plates that come with the 4 bearings, or you just go buy 4 of the mini bearings and the bolts, right? And the spacers, these aluminum spacers. So I'll put a couple different little options down there, links to different things. And then one of these plates with the 6, right? Because we're gonna cut this in half. When it comes to your foot pegs, you can just buy a set of foot pegs and just use the bolts that come with it. So you do not need the countersink bolt for version 2. For version 3, you don't need the countersink bolt either. You do need some stainless steel bearings. You need some aluminum spacers. Some of these aluminum spacers. You will also need some aluminum. You don't need a big 4-pack of these. I got this in case I decide to put together a couple kits to sell or give away or whatever, you know, to people watching. I'm not saying I'm doing that. I'm just saying I got it just in case in the future. I got to see how this works out. Then you also need stainless steel number 10 by 32 1-inch screws, bolts, whatever you want to call them. And you're also going to need the low profile locking, nylon locking screws, stainless steel. And like I said, 10 by 32. And that's it. So version 3, you're going to buy all the pieces individually, right? So you're going to buy one of these, or you're just going to buy these mini bushings. We're going to find some, I haven't found them yet, but I'm going to find some mini stainless steel bearings. You want these V-slot stainless steel bearings, and hopefully what we're going to be able to do is maybe get it to where we're going to try to get it to where it actually fits. But what we're going to do with this is we're going to take these and turn, instead of having gantry plates that have holes in certain spots, and we're just going to, you know, trial and error, figure out what we're going to do is, actually we're going to take these, measure out where we need to have the, measure the bolt pattern, and maybe we'll put one that's adjustable if we need to, but for the bottom or something like that. And we're going to cut it off, or we're going to cut it off, you know, cut it off here, and we're going to make longer, stronger gantry plates. And so we're only going to need like a little bit of this for both sides, so maybe like a half of one. And I have 4 of these. Forgot one thing, guys. You need Spectra line, Spectra Cord. I got this Spectra Cord off of Amazon. I got like a whole big pack of it. You can get Spectra Cord from Innovative Sportsman. I got some of that. That's going to be more like the Spectra Cord that comes with your kayak, like the Native Titan X, the rudder steering. That kind of Spectra Cord, you can get that from Innovative Sportsman. This is a little bit cheaper. It's a little bit thicker. I don't think it's necessarily stronger. It's just thicker. So if you want the thinner Spectra Cord, go ahead and get the one from Innovative Sportsman, or actually Native if they have it in stock. I'll put some links to that as well below. All right, so that is all the different parts that you're going to need to build the foot controls. And the other things that I wanted to mention before I got into the actual build was there's another set of foot controls that you could buy that is aluminum, and it's, you know, they got some foot control, it's like a sliding foot control. So I was talking to a guy on Facebook the other day, and he mentioned it, and so I looked it up. It's pretty interesting. I don't know that I will try it myself, just because, again, it's kind of like it's kind of like this, but it's different. So it's an aluminum rail, and your foot control is actually, you know, whatever, yay wide or whatever, and it's what slides, but it still slides inside of the rail. So imagine like if this was inside of the rail and it slid. So that's what it would be. You have to buy 3 pieces. I'll put it in the description below in case you're into that. It's a Bonafide product, I believe. Well, I know Bonafide sells it. I don't know if it's a Bonafide product. We're going to find out. I'll put it in the link below. But it's aluminum rails that you have to buy. Then you buy the foot pegs, controls, whatever you want to call them, the footrest. And then you buy the sliding piece, the adjustable sliding piece. And so the interesting things about that setup is you can lock it in place, right? With the one thing, you can lock it in place. You hook, I don't know exactly how it hooks up, but you hook up the lever lock sliding piece to your footrest, and then inside of the aluminum rails, and you can lock it, unlock it, slide it back and forth. And it really does look like it's kind of a cool solution, but it's an expensive solution because that is, for all 3 pieces, is $140. Now, that might be perfect for some people who don't have the tools, because if you don't have all these different tools, you're gonna, it's gonna add up, and you're gonna be buying some of that. You're gonna be spending more money than the $50 that it costs for the parts, right? But if you have the tools, then the version 1 through 3 is going to be cheaper than doing the Bonafide solution. The cheapest solution is these, the plastic ones. That's from Native. They're $50 with the Spectra Cord and all that. So that is the cheapest solution, I do believe. Now, I mean, maybe you can piece out some of these parts on Amazon and get it a little bit cheaper, but because you got to buy the gantry plates, the extruded aluminum, the Spectra Cord, the stainless steel, parts, that's going to be a little bit more expensive. I think, tallied up version 1 was like about $50. So you have the $50 version that comes with everything with the Spectra Cord and all that, the Native Titan X, or the Native foot controls. They're the most affordable. Second most affordable is going to be version 1 gantry plate, version 2 gantry plate, and even version 3 gantry plate. They're all about the same kind of price. And if you want to do the stainless steel, obviously it's going to go up a little bit. The top tier price level is going to be the foot controls that you can get through Bonafide. But again, it's good to have options. I'm not saying that there's anything bad with spending $140 for the foot controls, because sometimes it's just nice to just put it on and go. But the only concern that I had with that one is, again, because it's a moving part inside of the rail and not on top of the rail. Stuff that gets in there is going to be a little harder to keep clean, a little harder to you know, rinse out after your trip. But again, you know, if you're freshwater, maybe that's not a big deal. Saltwater, you know, that's the crutch, right? You have a lot of salt, you have a lot of sand, you got a lot of issues. So just things that slide, you know, instead of like rolling or whatever, I feel like that's going to be a little harder to maintain and take care of over time. The other issue that I have with the sliding type, the Bonafide and also the native one, and it has nothing to do with their products, these products, it has to do with the NK300. If you're using these with the NK300, that is a lot of torque. Now, I don't know how the Bonafide one performs. If you guys do know, put that in the comments, because I'm interested to see how that torque, how the torque affects the sliding of the Bonafide parts, because I don't know. Let me know, is the Bonafide, the sliding part, plastic, or is it some kind of metal as well? I just kind of like worry about that torque and the tension and stuff that is being applied when you're pushing and steering. Again, with the NK300. Now with the NK180, 180 Pro, I don't know. I don't even know how much torque that stuff puts out. If somebody wants to send me an NK180 Pro, I will build a custom set of foot controls for them, throw it on my yak and try it out. But if not, which I doubt any of y'all are going to do that, and I doubt Newport Vessels is going to send me anything for free, much less an NK180 Pro. But if you have one and you build one of these foot controls, let me know how it works on your 180 Pro, 180. I'm really interested to see how these things, how different it is, how different of an experience it is with these foot controls on a motor that has a little bit less torque than an NK300. Also, Newport, if you are watching, I do have the NK300. I have the Newport Vessels 36 volt, 50 amp hour battery. I'm loving it. So if you guys want to send me a sticker, that's great too. But I know I'm not monetized. I have 100 followers. Newport Vessels isn't even watching this. But if they are, send me a hat. I do hats. I like hats. All right. Let's reconvene in a little bit. All right, let's go.